Well, it's time to discuss the issues that have got women talking around the country. And I am joined this morning by commentator Angela Mollard, Kelly Landry from Getaway, author of The Butterfly Effect, Danielle Miller, and the editor of Madison, Lizzie Reckart. Now, girls, welcome.
Thank you.
I don't know how I'm going to get a word in edgewise here with you. But first up, we're going to be looking at wet nursing. Now, this can be traced back thousands of years, and now it has a modern twist. Apparently, there's a growing trend here and overseas for mums to use websites to donate their extra breast milk to women who can't feed their own babies. But doctors have warned that there is a risk of infections passing from the donor milk to babies. Now, this comes as a new study has also revealed that mums who breastfeed are seen as less competent in the workplace and less likely to be given a job. So, firstly, would you share your breast milk, and do you think donation through the internet is a good idea? And do we objectify breastfeeding women? Is that why they are seen as inferior when it comes to the working life, girls? So we have a couple of women here who are expecting.
Well, we're both pregnant, but I personally think that that's taking the bottle versus breast debate to the absolute extreme, and probably an unreasonable extreme as well. I think, you know, they say that breast milk and that sort of thing, there's so many great antibodies and so many great things for kids, but if it's not properly screened, are you willing to risk the health of your child for the sake of just using breast milk? I don't personally think that it's
a difficult
really
one.
idea.
Lizzie, what do you think? I mean, you haven't had children yet, but...
No, I haven't had children yet, and you know, and each to their own, but I personally can't imagine feeding my child breast milk from a woman that I know nothing about. I mean, if it were properly screened and the child desperately needed it for medical reasons, then I could probably understand it. But the risk of HIV and hepatitis, I just can't see that the benefits could outweigh that.
Yeah, and I know that my own mother, like when she told me stories that she had so much milk that she was expressing and giving to other mums who couldn't feed it. But it's kind of different these days when you have so many...
Ordering it over Facebook is a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I know.
It's a bit different.
Danielle, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's the key. Would I donate breast milk? Absolutely, I would. Certainly, I breastfed both my children, and I had excessive milk as well. But it would need to be screened.
Yeah.
I think the problem here is that it's being organised via Facebook, where there isn't that proper screening. What's really interesting, though, is that as a society, we're really quite repulsed by that idea.
I know.
And we're so used to seeing breasts. I mean, we're inundated with naked breasts. You can go into a service station to buy the kids a paddle pop and see breasts everywhere. Yeah, talk about breastfeeding, which is actually the breast's purpose, and people cringe.
They do.
If you try and breastfeed in public, people give you sort of odd stares, and
Even
it's not
still
easy
today,
to
it's
be
amazing.
a breastfeeding mother. I was a working mum who breastfed. I had to slink off into the toilets, you know, which is not the most conducive place to express milk, and try and breastfeed in this revolting environment in order to get back at work on time, and, you know, put the milk in the fridge and tell everyone not to touch that milk.
I remember doing the same thing.
And as a culture, we're really not very supportive of breastfeeding mothers, nor are we supportive of mothers generally. If you look at what happened recently with Jackie O and the furor about her giving her baby a bottle, I mean, I loved your comment about each to their own. There should be more of that each to their own. Who are we to be the mother police?
Oh,
it's
absolutely. No, we've got to look after ourselves. Angela, what do you think?
My problem with this is that I do agree with what everybody's saying, but it is a first world debate. In third world countries, if a child's mother dies, they pass that baby along the line and it's fed by somebody who needs to be fed. At the end of the day, what children need is a mother that loves them, that looks them in the eyes, and whether that nutrition comes from a bottle or from breast milk or from someone else's breast milk, as long as they're being fed. I do have reservations about it like everybody else. I do. The AMA does not support it, which means that, you know, they have reservations. We wouldn't actually milk a herd of cattle and not produce it as certified milk. And I think that to do it on Facebook is wrong. But let's get it in perspective. It is a first world problem.
Absolutely. And girls, the fact that, you know, we're all working mums and mums-to-be. So what do you think about the fact that they're saying that working mums, you know, feeding mums are more incompetent than others?
I think they need to go back and look at the research, because if you actually had a good look at the research, they'd say that it actually clearly states that mothers who do breastfeed generally are more educated and know a lot more about what they should and shouldn't be doing. So
they do say that you lose your maths brain, and I think I lost mine somewhere there.
It does bring returned after the baby was born, though. When I was pregnant, I was a little more vague and lost my keys continually. But I think it's ridiculous to judge a woman's IQ based on the way in which she wants to feed her child. It's just another example of society trying to, I guess, put women in boxes and critique us.
No, we're breaking out of those boxes.
We are.
We are.
It's ridiculous. The whole nature of breastfeeding is that you can, as Jackie O showed us, obviously with a bottle, but we can multitask. I mean, Danielle, you'll have known that, and Nikki, that when you're breastfeeding, particularly if you're on your second or third child, you're not doing it sitting there beautifully just looking into a distance. You're dealing with a toddler and that's
you're on the phone to clients.
I think it makes you more employable because it makes you able to multitask, and I think that's
absolutely. And if you do lose your keys, it's probably because you are multitasking.
All right, girls, more to talk about. Next up, they're called Generation Y, but maybe a better name is Generation Slashie. Now, there's a new wave of young people who've expanded the grand tradition of the actor / model / singer trying to straddle several industries and disciplines at once. In one recent article, a 27-year-old described herself as a poet, artist, event manager, graphic designer, creative director and fundraiser. So is this an exciting sign of the new flexibility that's being offered to kids today, or just another sign that Gen Y just can't make up its mind? What do we think, girls?
I think we're all pretty much slashies in our workplace today. I certainly multitask in my role, and I've certainly had plenty of other jobs as well. I'm kind of on the cusp of Gen X and Gen Y, and I think people just do what they do to get ahead. And if it means becoming better educated, becoming an expertise in more than one field, then I'm all for it.
But what about the saying that, you know, if you don't focus on one thing, you'll never be good at it?
Yeah, I have people who come to me, you know, for a job interview say, I have to admit that I'm turned off if someone thinks that they're too good at too many things. It's like, especially if you're 23 years old, you can't be that many things and be particularly good at any of them. I do think that you need to spend some years building up a trade or building up your portfolio, if you like, and get really good at that, and then you can move on and pick up new skill sets. But I don't necessarily think that really that it's a great thing for young people to do.
No, good for them to give it all a try.
Yeah, and it is important though that this generation of young people are change ready, because certainly the nature of work is changing, and we know that more professions are becoming redundant, that young people do need to be adapt and change ready. But I guess the key is that you don't want to become such a generalist that you have no specific skill set.
I think that's important.
And aren't mothers the ultimate multi-skillers?
Oh, we can do it all. Listen, girls, I want to get your advice on this one. Finally, after months of speculation about what Kate Middleton will wear for the big day, it's time to mull the second most important outfit at the royal wedding. Will Julia do us proud? What do you ladies think? There's so much pressure on poor Julia.
I think who cares? I mean, no one's asking what the males are going to be wearing to the wedding. This is just ridiculous. You know, as young girls, we are groomed to play this compare and despair game. Who's in, who's out, who's hot, who's not. Seriously, she's the Prime Minister. I'm hoping she's got other things to think of rather than what hat she's going to wear.
Look, I'm with Danielle, I agree. I'm not there to talk about what Julia wears day in, day out when she's in Parliament, but this is a royal wedding. We are allowed to have a viewpoint on this one, and I think, you know, Julia typically wears white or black, which is not what you should wear to a royal wedding. So I'm hoping for a nice sort of mid-blue skirt suit.
Will she get into a skirt?
An Australian designer.
She absolutely
good girl.
She has to wear a skirt. She can't wear the pantsuit that she usually wears. And as the editor of a fashion magazine, I am interested in what she wears. I hope she does Australian. I think a beautiful Carlizan Paddy.
Yes, absolutely. I think she should
even
a
lovely dress, or even you know, even something a bit, you know, a Colette Dinnigan cocktail frock would be quite nice. So
I think all eyes will be on her, definitely. Look, tell us what you think. Email us at kerri-anne.9.com.au. But while you consider what we've all been chatting about, this could also be something worth considering.